Lesson 8.0, Day 1, we're going to do a little bit of Pythagorean theorem refresher. Remember, in a right triangle, the squares of the two sides or legs of the right triangle added together always equal the square of the hypotenuse. And the key thing to remember is that hypotenuse is always on the opposite side. Now, sometimes you'll know A and B and you're trying to solve for C, or you'll know C and either A or B and then have to find the other variable. Remember, when we practiced these before, we're going to practice or model simplifying the radical using our fractal trees and giving a decimal approximation. And we'll approximate our decimals to the nearest tenth. The directions down below. Solve for the missing side in each right triangle. And I'm not quite sure why these first two have the numbers so distorted, so hopefully you can see them easy on your paper. In the first right triangle on the top left, we have a length of 9 meters and a length of 12 meters. We're asked to try to find the missing side, and that would be the hypotenuse. We'll label that C for hypotenuse, and if we think A squared plus B squared equals C squared. The 9 and the 12 are pretty much, you can put them in either order because we're going to square them and add them together. So kind of based on that picture, it looks like the A is the smaller number, so I'll make that the 9, or the smaller length, not the smaller number. Well, which would match up, I guess. And B is the longer side of the 2, so that's going to be 12 squared. And then I have C squared on the right. All right, everybody, grab your calculators or do mental math. Choice is yours. 9 squared is 81, and 12 squared is 144. If we add them together, we get 225. And then what we've done before, take the square root of each side to get C by itself. And always check to see if it's a perfect square, because this one is. We get C equals exactly 15. So there's no square root in our answer, and there's no decimal approximation. On the right, let's try this second triangle. We have a side length of 15 millimeters and a side length of 25 millimeters. I'm not really worried about the labels necessarily, like millimeters or meters. We just want to get the appropriate number for the missing side in the triangle. If we look at this picture, now I know that C equals 25. So the A and the B, just pick which whenever you want. If we let A equal the 15, that means we're going to be solving for B in Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So really nothing new today, you guys, just kind of a refresher. A is 15, we're going to have to square that. B we don't know, and then C squared is 25 squared. 15 squared is 225, we just saw that. We'll leave B squared for now. Over on the right though, 25 squared is go all the way up to 625. So when the hypotenuse is known, we have to move things over before we square root. So make sure to subtract 225. That cancels out, giving us B squared equals 625 minus 225, which is 400. Once you've isolated your B squared, then we can take the square root of each side. That cancels out. In your calculator, this one's another perfect square. We get B equals exactly 20. Hopefully this is all sounding familiar from what we've done kind of in various problems throughout semesters 1 and 2. In the example on the bottom left, just trying to rotate these triangles to really get you to identify the key parts that we know. And our focus is to always find the hypotenuse in the right triangle first. Looking at this picture, the hypotenuse is actually up at the top this time. That's what C equals. Now it looks like 6 is the longer of the two legs that create the right triangle or the right angle, so we'll let A be that missing side length this time. It really doesn't matter how you assign A or B, but this is what we'll go with. Again, we'll start with our Pythagorean theorem. We're going to keep A squared, we'll plug in 6 for B, and then square that, and then on the right we get that 15 squared again. A squared, 6 squared is 36. And then 15 squared, again, 225. Move 36 over. And this is going to be our first example in this section that isn't a perfect square. We get A squared equals 189. So let's first do the factor tree. It's not an even number, so I know I can't start with 2. So let's try 3. That would be the next prime number. 3 goes into 189. It looks like 63 times. Feel free to check that with your calculator. I'm going to need some more space right here. Zoom that up. All right. 3 is prime. Let's take 63. I know 3 will go into 63 again 21 times. And guess what? 3 goes into 21 7 times. Now 3 and 7 are both prime, so that's as far as we can go. When we simplify square roots, again, we're looking for groups of 2. So I notice in my factor tree I have 2 3s, which means I'm going to put one of them on the outside. Oops, I forgot to square root that side on the a squared. There we go. A squared equals. Put a 3 on the outside, and then we cross them off. Remember that? On the inside, I have whatever's left over. So I've got 3 times 7. So let's clean that up. Let's just multiply 3 times 7. And this would be 3 on the outside and square root 21 on the inside. That's the exact formula, or the exact square root. Now the decimal, go ahead and grab your calculators, everybody, and let's plug in square root of 189. I just want to make sure that you see how we get our approximated answer. So I'm going to write A is approximately, and I'm going to write this out for a few decimal places. So I'm going to go 13.747727. So it goes on for quite a bit. Now our rounding rule is going to be to the nearest tenth. So that's one place past the decimal. So here's where students sometimes get stuck. If I look at this number right after the 7, notice it's only 4. I'm not worried about any of the other numbers after. If 4 is less than 5, which it is, then the 0.7 stays. But if the 4 was actually 5 or higher, we'd round the 7 to 8. So A will be approximately 13.7 to the nearest tenth. I hope that makes sense. All right, let's try that last one. I gave you an incredibly tall triangle over here. We have 48 and 14 for our side lengths, and it's looking like if we identify where the hypotenuse is, that's what we're solving for. It's directly across from that 90-degree angle. So the 48 and the 14 can be a squared and b squared. It doesn't matter the order. I'm going to change it up and make 48 my a squared, and 14 is the b squared, and we're trying to figure out how big is that hypotenuse. Typing in 48 on your calculator, that's 2,304, and 14 squared is 196. Add them together, we get exactly 2,500. To get c by itself, take the square root of each side, and they cancel. And the square root of 2,500 is exactly 50. Now, if you're ever wondering, should that be an okay value for the hypotenuse? In a right triangle, the hypotenuse always has to be the longest side. So when you're solving these, that's one way to check to make sure that you know your side lengths and your hypotenuse have that comparison. Again, the hypotenuse is always the longest side. And that's just a quick refresher for Pythagorean theorem.